not this body that will die. I am not the mind I cannot find. The ego that stands tall like a wall, it had a fall. And I could realize the divine in one and all. And I realized that we are all souls. We are divine souls. S-O-U-L, spark of unique life.
Wow. I love the way you play with words. The way you have abbreviations. It's almost poetry that flows out from your mouth. And it's so beautiful. I could just sit and listen to you for hours.
I met my guru. After many years, my guru asked me the question, are you just going to have fun till life is done? Wake up, find out who are you in reality.
Tell me about your Guruji.
Dada J.P. Vaswani, he was my mentor for 25 years. And he has been a mentor for lakhs of people around the world. But he teaches them just the way of good living. He was the most divine soul. I happen to be one of the rare few, I would say, who was blessed to have a master like him. He was the one who helped me to go on a talash. And when I was 48, he was the one who self-certified that I am good to go. I asked him this question, Dada, what next? He said, no more. You don't need me anymore. You have gone beyond it. Now go to the world and spread the message.
Wow. This is beautiful. And I used to ask questions to my dad, my parents in the Gurdwara when we went to, and nobody could give me answers which was satisfactory. And it was simply that this is the way it is. You have to simply believe it. And today now I have the answer. There is no question left. Welcome to Silent Sage Speak, the podcast where timeless wisdom meets the present moment. I'm your host Sukhdev Virdee, and in each episode we delve into the profound teachings of non-dual masters, those who have transcended the boundaries of duality and revealed the simplicity of existence. Join us on this journey beyond words as we explore the essence of being with those who have realized the truth that goes beyond language, beyond thought. Open your mind, silence your chatter, and let the wisdom of silent sages resonate within you. Today my guest is a happiness ambassador, author, singer, TEDx speaker, and a spiritual mentor who says he started with nothing, became something, achieved everything, only to realize that we are nothing. I'd like to welcome to the show, AiR. Welcome to the show, AiR.
Hi Sukhdev, what a pleasure and honor to be on this show with you.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful. We've been waiting for about a month and a half to get you on this show. Ever since I saw one of your videos on YouTube, I've been like, I need to interview, I need to have AiR on the show, and I'll tell you why afterwards. But I want to start off with what everybody would be wondering. Where did the name AiR come from? It's like a breath of fresh air. And why?
The word AiR has a dual meaning. And though there is non-duality, the word AiR means air. And I happen to be air as in the Atman in Ravi. Because when the realization came of who am I, then the question came, this guy is called Ravi, but I am not this guy. You are known as Sukhdev, but in reality you are Sukh. Sukh means you are Sukhdev, the god of happiness. That is your true identity. And that realization was mine, that I am AiR, the Atma in Ravi. I am not Ravi. Ravi is just an identity, it's just a name. But when I realized that I and you, we are not the bodies that we wear, but we are the ones that wear the body, that brought about my name was actually Atma in Ravi, Atma in Ravi. And when I kept writing it, the acronym became AiR, AiR.
Beautiful. I remember somebody asking me once, do you have a soul? And a long time back, before my realization, I said, yeah, I have a soul. And he said, no, you are the soul. You don't have a soul. And that's exactly what you're saying, Atman in Ravi. You are the Atman in Ravi. AiR, your story is so fascinating. And I want you to just to walk us through how you came into spirituality. Has it always been there since childhood? How did you come into spirituality, and how particularly into Advaita and non-duality?
Actually, it's not about me coming into. This is what they call awakening. This is what the world thinks to be very mystical and magical. It is that term which is called enlightenment. And people think, oh, enlightenment, how can you be enlightened? Every human being has the right to be enlightened, because to be enlightened means to bring in the light. That's all. So just like we can switch on the light and see, we can switch on the light within to realize we are not the mind and ego me. It happened, Sukhdev, when I was on a journey of success, and I was taught that success is happiness. For 25 years, I went on from success to success to success. Like I said, I started with nothing. I achieved something, became everything. And then I wanted to go to the next peak and the next peak and the next peak. And I realized something, that success is not happiness. So I went on a quest for what is the true peak of happiness. I shut my business when I was 40. After 25 years, people talk of the monk who sold his Ferrari. That is theory. But in reality, I had a castle. I was living like a king in the retailing industry. And I shut down my business, and people wondered, what the hell? Why did you shut shop at 40 when everything is going so great? Then I realized that the first peak of happiness is achievement. I took the second peak called fulfillment. It was not that I just gave up achievement and success and got enlightenment. No, there were three peaks. My first peak was achievement. I lived a life of fulfillment. For 5 years, I went to 100 new countries. I tried to discover what this world is. I was in Antarctica, Greenland, Iceland, Finland, Switzerland, just having a blast. But then I met my guru. After many years, my guru asked me the question. He saw me playing with the penguins in Antarctica. He said, are you just going to have fun till life is done? Wake up. Find out who are you in reality. I said, Dada, what do you mean, who are you? I know who I am. I am Ravi. And I am. He said, no, that's what you think you are. So Sukhdev, I went on a talash. I call it the talash. It's my first book. It's titled Talash. It's a quest with a simple question, what Ramana Maharishi said, Nana Yar. When Ramana Maharishi asked, who am I? At the first point, I didn't know what it meant. When I saw a big board in a spiritual retreat called Tat Twam Ashi, I know what is Tat Twam Ashi. I didn't even know to pronounce Tat Twam Asi. But then, when I took hundreds of books, hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds of books of all religions, of all philosophers, theologists, spiritualists, and I studied, I went through Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Vivekananda, Adi Shankara, Vedas, Upanishads, Bible, Bhagavad Gita, everything. And then, one day, on the 31st of August 2014, on a flight Air France 192 from Paris to Bangalore, the whole picture emerged. The picture emerged that I am not this body that will die. I am not the mind I cannot find. The ego that stands tall like a wall, it had a fall. And I could realize the divine in one and all. And I realized that we are all souls. We are divine souls. S-O-U-L, spark of unique life. This realization came to me, and this was the beginning of my journey of non-duality, beginning of my journey of self-realization that took me to God realization, beginning of the spiritual awakening, beginning of the journey of enlightenment.
Wow, I love the way you play with words, the way you have abbreviations. It's almost poetry that flows out from your mouth, and it's so beautiful. I could just sit and listen to you for hours. That's beautiful. You spoke about. Tell me about your Guruji, because you just mentioned him briefly, but how much time did you spend with him, and what all was he a non-dual Advaita master? And did he teach you? Did he teach you anything to do with bhakti as well, or straight was it into non-duality? And how much time did you spend with him?
Actually, my guru, who left this earthly plane in 2018, the Dada J.P. Vaswani, he was my mentor for 25 years. At that time, I was a businessman, and he has been a mentor for lakhs of people around the world. But he teaches them just the way of good living. He teaches them how to live with humility, live with good karma, live with kindness, live a good life. That was he was the most divine soul. But when he saw me, he said, "You are not meant for this class." So he told me specifically that I should go on a quest. He was awakened, he was enlightened. But his mission was to help the masses to be initiated on the journey. His mission was not to take few people. Like today, my mission is to take a few people up the path, up the mountain called enlightenment, the peak. So my master was a great soul. He was awakened to all the texts of the Vedas, the Upanishads. He was a master in Bhagavad Gita. But he was not solely into helping people on the path of enlightenment. I happen to be one of the rare few, I would say, who was blessed to have a master like him. So what did he do? When I was 40, he was the one who helped me to shut down my business. When I was 46, he was the one who helped me to go on a talash. And when I was 48, he was the one who certified that I am good to go. In 2017, before he passed away, I asked him this question, "Dada, what next?" He said, "No more. You don't need me anymore. You have gone beyond it. Now go to the world and spread the message."
Wow. This is beautiful. And this you're saying 2015 and till 17. I can relate to that because, when I had the realization, I was like, the world needs to hear about this. How can you miss this? How have we missed it every single moment of our life? And then when I went out and started speaking to a few people, I found out pretty soon that nobody is really interested in it.
You know why? The reason is this, Sukhdev. Nobody is interested in this because they think it's some garbage called spirituality. They don't understand that the way to eternal bliss is truth consciousness, and truth consciousness is spirituality. If only the world comes to know that spirituality is the answer to end all problems. Spirituality is the answer to go beyond fear, worry, stress, anxiety, regret, shame, and guilt. Spirituality is the way to overcome anger, hate, revenge, jealousy, pride, greed, and selfishness. Spirituality is the way to overcome pain of the body, misery of the mind, agony of the ego. If people like you're a spokesperson, if you and me take the right message to the world, I think there will be a switch. People have confused religion to be spirituality. This is a big problem. That's why I don't use the word God. I use the word SIP, a supreme immortal power. Because the moment you say God, you think of Shiva, Krishna, Buddha, Guru Nanak, Jesus. You just get out of the picture. So that's the reason why people, I think, have not understood that spirituality is a science of the spirit. It is a way to attain the true purpose of our existence.
Beautiful. You have just picked up my entire childhood. I have been spiritual since childhood. And I am a Sikh. So we went to the Gurudwara. We bowed down before the Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Nanak was the founder of Sikhism. At home, we had a mandir with all the Hindu gods, Shiva, Vishnu, Krishna. We had all that. And in school, we learned Christianity because I was in a Christian school. We learned Buddhism and we learned Islam. And I always had this question, who is the supreme one? Which one is it? Everyone is saying one. And it's, if you go to Islam and Christianity, they still have one. But when you come to Hinduism, there's a whole buffet of gods. and which one is the supreme one. And I used to ask questions to my dad, my parents, in the Gurdwara when we went to, and nobody could give me answers which was satisfactory. And it was simply that this is the way it is. Believe, you have to simply believe it. And today now I have the answer. There is no question left. So did you face all this when you were little? Which is the supreme God? Like you said, Shiva and Guru Nanak and.
Yeah, I was confused. In fact, you're lucky, at least you believe in Sikhism. And Sikhism, Guru Nanak says, Ek Omkar Sat Nam, which means there is that one power. And Guru Nanak forbade people to pray to a God, I think, with name and form. Unfortunately, many Sikhs think of Guru Nanak to be a God, but he himself said, I'm a Guru. Whether he was. But let me tell you my story. I believed in Shiva from the time I was 8 till I was 48, which means for 40 years, I even got a divine flash to build a temple of Shiva, and I have built the biggest statue of Shiva in the world, one of the biggest and the best statues of Shiva in the world in Bangalore. But I was always thinking, Om Namah Shivaya. My quest was for 2 or 3 reasons. When I went on a talash, I wanted to find out what is the ultimate way to happiness. Second, I wanted to find out what is the purpose of life. And third, I wanted to find out who is God, where is God, what is God. So Sukhdev, what I did, I said, let me go to Kailash, because Shiva is in Kailash. And then I realized it's a myth. Shiva is not sitting in Kailash. I'm not going to find Shiva. People who listen to people who misguide them, that there's a God walking in the Himalayas and there's a yogi who's alive from thousands of years ago. This is the problem in this mysticism and creating of magical gods that misguides people, takes them away from the truth. There is a God, but there are no different gods of different religions. There is one power, and that power is supreme. That power, there is no creator of God, for God is the causeless cause. God is the source. He's the source of everything. You can't find out what created the source. No. So that power is supreme, and I therefore, Sukhdev, I realized from Om Namah Shivaya, I realized what Adi Shankara said when he said, Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. So this sense of Aham Brahmasmi, this sense of Tattvamasi, all this came upon me as a dawning, post my realization, post my awakening.
Yeah. Wow. So you started off as a devotee of Shiva.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
for 40
started with
years.
devotion. Yeah, so from devotion then into jnana and realization. You pointed out so rightly, and this is the I think the wrong teaching that we have all been taught, that there is, Ikonkar you mentioned, Guru Nanak's, the whole Guru Granth Sahib starts with Ikonkar, and if you understand just Ikonkar, you have understood the entire Guru Granth Sahib. And you read the translations after realization. I went to translate the Mool Mantra, because my father always told me, do something in Sikhism. After I wrote 9 books, then I thought, let me write one on Sikhism for my dad. And so I did the Mool Mantra, and I went to different Gurudwaras and asked the Gyanis there to tell me what is the meaning of, they could not even tell me the meaning of Ikonkar. Okay, and all the translations that I had read on the internet, wherever you'll find, the translation is, there is one God, or there is but one God, or there is one universal God. This is the translation. And this is not the transliteration. It is actually, because the moment you say, there is one God, number one, you have already separated that God from you.
Yep.
So now you're going to go and look for that one God everywhere, you'll never find him. The transliteration of Ikonkar, if you translate it literally with the words, it is, Ik means one, On means creation, Kar means creator. The creation and the creator is one. There is no question of here or there, or the me and a God. The creation is the creator, or the creator is the creation. They are both one.
And this is not only spiritual, Sukhdev. Today, this is something that is scientifically proved. In quantum physics, in wave particle duality, today the scientific world has agreed that every particle of matter is nothing but energy. This is not disputable anymore. This is scientific. So it is not some spiritual garb that people are talking about.
It's not mystical at all. It's just we probably, I think we have been brought up with by parents, or at least me, who themselves did not have the answers. So they gave us what they thought and knew best. When you started reading this, when you went on your talash, and your books that you read, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Upanishads that you spoke about, how long did you read those for, and which ones were the most beneficial did you find out on that path while you were studying them?
Actually, what I did was, I first bought about thousands of books. I bought thousands of books from all religions, from all the gurus. For example, I would go to Chinmaya Mission and pick up all the books. I would go to Ramakrishna Mission, pick up all the books. I went to Ramana Maharishi's Arunachalam, Tiruvannamalai, and picked up. So I was very serious in my quest. I even picked up the Quran, the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Guru Granth Sahib, everything. Now, I had hundreds of books in front of me. I scanned the books, and some books started to make sense to me. I started to relate to when Ramana Maharishi wrote the book AiR. I took it up. When Vivekananda wrote the book, several books, including his volumes of his realization. And when I read Adi Shankara, his books, Tattva Bodha, his book Atma Bodha. Then there are some books like Drig Drisya Viveka. I went Aproksha Anubhuti, Viveka Chudamani. All these books became the base of my study. What does this teach us, Sukhdev? What do all these books teach us? One, they ask us to question, am I this body? And let me tell you, my realization is beyond scripture. My realization is common sense realization. So I tell people, I wrote a book, I've written a book, it's called Don't Cut Your Birthday Cake. Your birthday is fake. We cut a cake. When were you born, Sukhdev? Which day were you born?
I was born on New Year's Day, 1st of Jan.
Okay, so when we are born, we think we are actually born, but in reality, you were conceived 9 months before. And I know you will say I was not even conceived because I am the immortal soul. I'm not talking from your enlightened point of view. But every human being is conceived 9 months before. And from that moment, you can't change your mother. If your birth date was that day, then I ask the question, what were you? When you were conceived, there was no body. The body was created over 9 months, biologically, scientifically. Nobody can deny that we were born 9 months ago. We were just a spark of unique life, SOUL, spark of unique. When that spark made a sperm and an egg fertilize, we were conceived. It's called, she has conceived. The doctor says, your wife has conceived. That means that we were already so-called created. Then the body comes, 25 billion cells, we arrive on an arrival day. So I don't sing. I tell people, happy arrival day to you. It's your birthday, that's not true. You were born 9 months ago. It's your arrival day, that is true. So I change. So I think बधाई हो बधाई आगमन दिन की तुमको. आगमन दिन ये तुम्हारा, जन्मदिन नहीं ये तो. आगमन दिन ये तुम्हारा, जन्मदिन नहीं ये तो. जिसको एहसास हो जाए आगमन दिन है ये तो. So this is not Janam Din, this is Agaman Divas, arrival day. Not only birth, my realization today concentrates on two aspects of life: birth, then death. If the moment we die, if we were the body, then people would not say we passed away. Our own family would not burn our body or bury our body. Why do they destroy our body? Because they believe and they know we have left the body. If we have left the body, it means we are not the body, because we have left the body. So this is my basis of my thesis, my realization of, you ask me, all these books, the Atma Bodha, Tattva Bodha, Aparokshanubhuti, Viveka Chudamani, got me to this realization. Who am I? So I wrote a book, it's called I Am Not I. I am not I, but I am. We cannot say that you and me don't exist. We exist, but who are we? We are the Atma. We are the divine energy. So another book of mine says, I am the soul. The soul is Sip. I am Sip, and Sip is in all. Sip is the supreme immortal power. So this is the books that I read, and that's how today I have written 82 books. I write a book a month, and these books I don't write, it flows to me. It flows. And I have written 1452 songs, 1452 songs which just come to me from nowhere. So it takes me 10 minutes to write a song. 10 minutes a song, and then we have music, we compose music in-house and we sing, and that's also, everything is on non-duality. All the 1400 songs started with bhakti and have ended with non-duality.
Wow. Well, I was going to ask you, I heard in one of your podcasts, you say you write a book a month, and you have done over 1400 songs, all on spirituality and non-duality. Are these songs available for online? Can we listen to them? Can they?
Yeah. In fact, I believe that a person like you who's blessed in the singing subject should try to use some of the words. For example, there are many songs which we can use to help people realize the truth. That, one song says, I don't know whether it's the right time because it's Hindi, it says, Prabhu paane ka sahi tarika wo kya hai, khud ka ehsaas hona hai, is ehsaas se Prabhu milta hai, तन और मन ना हम तो सच में आत्मा है, आत्मा ही परमात्मा है, ये जानने का तरीका क्या है. So the only way to God realization is self-realization. The only way to realize non-duality to me is duality. Duality is the first step. But just like the Bhagavad Gita is a text which I believe teaches you first duality and then takes you to the non-duality aspect of it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this, and it's good you mentioned this. You also speak about, I also speak about it, but I've heard very few people differentiate between self-realization and God realization. Can you speak a little bit about the difference between the two?
Okay, let's quickly understand the point, right? If you want to realize God, suppose I want to find God. Who is God? Where is God? The monotheistic religions, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, they believe that the messenger of God brought a message, the commandments. Okay, fine. With all due respect, we respect every religion. All religions are good. But the moment you believe the lie that God lives in the sky, then you cannot realize God, because you are going to start thinking that one day when I die, then I will go to God and I will face God on the final day of judgment. And so this is one problem in the monotheistic religions. Now let's come to the Eastern religions. The Eastern religions, the problem is, who is God? Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Trinity. Then you come to Rama. then you come to Krishna, then you come to Ganesha, Hanuman, oh my God, Devi Ma, Lakshmi. Oh, now many Sanatanis, as they call themselves, make it so fashionable to say, we don't believe in so many gods. We have them in our puja room, but in reality they are just different forms. Whatever they may say. I know, I believed in Shiva for 40 years. And for me, the snake, the Damaru, the Chandrama, the Ganges, all were very sacred, because we are taught that it is blasphemous to question religion. So Sukhdev, if I want to attain Shiva, if somebody wants to attain Krishna, if somebody wants to attain Jesus or God, whatever, if we start to believe, like many of the ones who believe in Krishna say, no, we want to go to Vaikuntha. We want to go to Vaikuntha. We want to play in Goloka. Many Swamis, big Swamis in my podcast, they say, वो मोक्षा क्या है, मुक्ति क्या है? कुछ नहीं है. हमें तो मुक्ति नहीं चाहिए, हमें तो मोक्ष नहीं चाहिए, हमें तो गोलोका में जाना है, वैकुंठ में जाना है, कृष्ण के पास जाके उनके साथ गोपियों के साथ खेलना है. Now the point is this, with all due respect to all the gods of all the religions, if we want to realize God, we have to realize God is in you, God is in me. God is in the butterfly, God is in the bee, God is in the tree, God is in the mountain, God is in the sea. God is everywhere. What I think I saw one of your videos, it says, there is no place where God is not. Because everything is God. There is, what did Adi Shankara say? Adi Shankara said, Jagat Mithya, Prabhu Satya, Brahma Satya. It means that this whole world is a manifestation of the divine. But Sukhdev, without self-realization, there can be no God realization. If you want to have God realization, to get a direct realization of God, very difficult, because no doubt God is everywhere. But if you want to go systematically, if you want to realize that God is a power, God is not a Vyakti, God is a Shakti. God is not Bhagavan, God is in Insan. Har Insan mein Bhagavan hai. So I tell people, इंसान मैं नहीं सच में भगवान हूँ, दिखता जो मैं वो नहीं आत्मा मैं हूँ, अनुभूति हो गई एहसास हो गया, नेति नेति तत्वमसि ये नहीं वो मैं हूँ. Unless, Sukhdev, we realize that we are not the body, not the mind, not the ego, we are the soul. Unless there is this self-realization, then this soul is nothing but Sip, the supreme immortal power. The wave is nothing but the ocean. So, unless there is a realization, okay, what is the realization? Self-realization, what is it? It says, मैं क्या हूँ कुछ भी नहीं, सब कुछ तुम ही हो प्रभु, तुम बिन मैं क्या कुछ भी ना, लहर एक हूँ मैं प्रभु, आता मैं जाता प्रभु, तू है समुंदर सारा, तुझ में समाता प्रभु, तुझ ही से मैं आता कुछ भी ना. Unless we realize we are nothing, we cannot become everything. The moment we realize we are nothing, we become everything.
Beautiful. Lovely.
So that is the truth.
Great. From all that talk that you're, I was just trying to picture out what the other people said. Swami Vivekananda went to the West and he said, I have not come here to teach you to go to heaven. I have come here to teach you to stop going to heaven. You have already been there thousands of times. You know, I have come here to teach you to stop, because when you go to heaven, where you go, you will have to leave. Anything that
Yeah.
comes will have to go. It's not a permanent place, even if there is a heaven. Another thing that you said, the difference between the leher and the samundar, the ocean and the wave. Hanuman was asked, Ram, there's a story of where Ram asked Hanuman, what do you think of me? Now, Ram is God and Hanuman is the devotee. And so Ram wants to know what Hanuman thinks of him. And Hanuman himself is enlightened. So he says, Prabhu, as this person, you are my Lord and I am thy servant, thy devotee. As the universe, you are the whole and I am thy part. As consciousness, you and I are one and the same.
This is my favorite story, and you should sing a song. You should sing this song. In this song, एक दिन श्री राम ने पूछा हनुमान से, तुम्हारा मुझसे क्या है नाता? हनुमान ने कहा, प्रभु दास हूँ आपका। हनुमान ने कहा, प्रभु दास हूँ आपका। पर जब ज्ञान हो गया मैं हूँ आत्मा, जब ज्ञान हो गया मैं हूँ आत्मा। मैं भी एक आत्मा, आप भी तो एक आत्मा है, फर्क नहीं है हमारा। राम फिर प्रसन्न हुए हनुमान के एहसास से, के सच में दोनों
परमात्मा परमात्मा।
I'm saying this is a beautiful story you told me, and it reminded me of the song we have written. But this is the truth, right, Sukhdev? The problem is when we start believing that Ram is in Ayodhya and Ram Lalla is that statue, and we take religion literally. When you start taking it literally, then you get caught, then you get stuck.
I studied Advaita extensively. My journey started with Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita, and I was a die-hard devotee of Krishna, still am. So I was one of those people, like you said, if there is anything beyond the love I have for Krishna, even moksha, mukti, anything, I don't want it. I am happy in love with Krishna. I was that. And then I was pushed by Krishna into non-duality, into Vedanta. Then came Shiva. I realized I was literally pushed by Krishna out into the Vedas and the Upanishads. And then I realized, oh my God, the Upanishads are talking about exactly the same thing that I have been through. How do they know what I've been through in terms of devotion and love and all that? And then I realized that Krishna, when Krishna says, I am God in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the God that all these people are worshipping. He means the I that is, because the Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Upanishads. And in the Upanishads, there is no God. There is only you. When Krishna says, I am God, he means that I. That the I in me is God. And
The true self. The true self that we have.
yes. And so when I studied Advaita Vedanta, I went to the extent of every single word. So today or any time now, if I even speak the word the or you have a right to question me on the word. Okay? And so what I have analyzed, and this is the truth, if you go into what God is omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotence. That which is everywhere, every time, in everything.
Absolutely.
And what is the self? The self is the one that transcends God. The self is the one that goes beyond everything, everywhere, every time. And it is not apart from it. So Brahman, like Nirgun Brahman, is nothing. Sagun Brahman is everything. So Sagun Brahman is Ishvara and God that we call in religion, and Nirgun Brahman would say is the self. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I love having these discussions, and AiR, feel free to talk in Hindi and be yourself. Just have fun, enjoy, and if you whatever Hindi comes out, I'll be.
You can put a subtitle. You just put a subtitle for those who
No
want
problem.
to understand.
We have a lot of Indian people who watch this, and it's good to have somebody who knows Advaita on the show. I've been interviewing a lot of people from the European continent, and we've been talking about non-duality in a very different way. This is what I live. Let me tell you the story of how I got in touch with you, or how you came into my life. My sister is in London, and she's also realized, and she's been realized since almost her childhood, and we didn't know about it. So when I had it, I was like, I need to share it with everybody. And so I sat with her and I told her, and I did a guided meditation with her. And she said, yeah, but this is all common sense. I said, what? And she said, yeah, I knew this all along, but I never could talk about it because it was considered blasphemous. And it's good that you're talking about it. So she sent me a video of your podcast, and she said, listen to this man. He sounds exactly like you. And I put it on and I couldn't stop for that 1 hour. I said, he's using the same words that I use. He's got the same kind of story. Singer, successful, left everything, non-duality, written books, sing songs. I mean, he's exactly the same thing.
So there is always beautiful, there's always a connection. Sukhdev, it's very beautiful to meet people who are on this path, because unfortunately there are very few. And why people are few also we should realize, because people in this world are caught in bhoga. And people don't understand the difference between bhoga and yoga. The moment we are in bhoga, we think that this material world of pleasure and people and possessions give us happiness. But in reality, they only give us pleasure. But pleasure is not the real treasure. The real treasure is peace. And peace you don't have to find. You just have to still your mind. You still have to still your mind. And when you still your mind, peace you will find. And peace is the foundation of happiness. But beyond pleasure and peace, my happiness has got 3 P's. I don't spell Happy. For me, Happy. My spelling of happy has 3 P's. You first have pleasure, then you have peace, and then you discover the purpose of your existence. When you discover the purpose, when you realize I am not the body, mind, ego, you're free from the triple suffering of all the body, mind, ego. And you reach that state of Sat Chit Anand. You reach that state of eternal bliss in truth consciousness. So therefore for me, to meet people like you, your sister, you said, this is life. You know what is life, Sukhdev? L-I-F-E. Life means liberation from ignorance and finding enlightenment. L-I-F-E means liberation from ignorance, finding. But people don't understand. When somebody was singing this song recently, they said, जिंदगी का सफर है ये कैसा सफर, कोई समझा नहीं, कोई जाना नहीं. मैंने कहा, hello. I said, जिंदगी एक सफर, मोक्ष का ये सफर, कौन हूँ मैं जानना ये, और क्यों आया यही, कर्मों के कारण ही जन्म लेता कोई, कर्मों से हो मुक्ति, मोक्ष पाना यही. So I turned some of the famous songs into Advaita. I turned these famous songs and I write my own tunes as well. Because ultimately, everybody wants to be happy. And the way to happiness is spirituality. The way to happiness is realization of who am I. Because then you are beyond the ordinary pleasures of life. You are in that state of ananda, that state of nirvana. And that is what we should use to help motivate people to come on this path.
2 questions I'm going to ask you from that.
Go ahead.
One, I want to hear your definition of Satchidananda. And number 2, not a question, but I want to, a great quote I heard about what is happiness. I want to share that.
Go ahead.
Brilliant quote. What is happiness? Happiness is building tension and releasing it. Then you say, I'm happy. So how do you become more happy? Build more tension, release it. More happiness, build more tension, release it. All the time, you're not realizing that you're coming back to where you started and saying, I'm happy. Build tension, release, come back where I'm happy.
So that is what, as long as recently, day before yesterday, I was having a talk with Jaya Rao, and she said, happiness is not only about the numerator, it's also the denominator. So if you want 10 things that make you happy, and there are 5 things that don't make you happy, then it is 10, but the 5 minus 5 affects your happiness. So if you have got, instead of 10 things that make you happy, 5, but nothing that makes you unhappy, your net score is higher, because then you are in that state of, you are happier in that way. But you asked me about Sat Chit Anand. I like to break up the word Satchidanand into the 3 words that it is made up of. It is made up of Sat, which means truth, Chit, which means consciousness, and Anand is eternal bliss. I experience eternal bliss when I live in the Chit of Sat. When I live in the Chit, the consciousness of Sat, the truth. This truth, that's what is called, truth, consciousness, bliss. That's how the Swamis, the ancient sages have said. But very few people understand it. So you don't have to find Ananda. Ananda is a result of Satchit. Satchit, 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 Satchit. So therefore, when there is this state of peace, in the state of peace, you reach a state of consciousness. People sometimes wonder, how do you reach a state of consciousness? Either you can be in a state of mind, where there are 50 thoughts bombarding you, or you be in a state of mindfulness or awareness or thoughtlessness and reach a state of consciousness. Now, what should you be conscious about? You should be conscious about the eternal truth. The truth, for example, one of the truth which is probably very relevant to you as a singer is Satyam Shivam Sundaram. 50 years back, this song was written, but people don't understand. Satyam Shivam Sundaram means the truth is that God is beautiful. The truth is that everything beautiful in this world is beautiful because it is divine. If you take away divinity, there is no beauty. If there's a beautiful butterfly, it's flying. If the Atma of the butterfly leaves, it falls dead. A beautiful fruit, a beautiful flower, everything is beautiful. A beautiful human being is beautiful. The moment the Atma leaves, the Paramatma leaves, the person is no more. And in this song, there's also something to do with non-duality. I don't know whether you know this song. And it is to do with non-duality. 50 years of ignorance that people sing and don't understand. You know what they say, people sing in the song? They say, रामावध में, काशी में शिव, कान्हा वृंदावन में, दया करो प्रभु देखूं इनको, दया करो प्रभु देखूं इनको, हर घर के आंगन में, राधा मोहन शरणम. O Lord, may I see Rama, Krishna, Shiva in every home, in everybody. May I see God. So what did you heard the story of Namdev? Have you heard the story of Namdev?
Ramdev.
Namdev was a very famous saint.
Yeah, Namdev. Yes.
So yes, we just recorded a song yesterday. It says, पत्ते पत्ते में है झांकी भगवान की, पत्ते पत्ते में है झांकी भगवान की, अनुभूति जिसको हो गई पहचान ली, नामदेव ने पकाई. Namdev was making chapatis, the bread, right? The song says, नामदेव ने पकाई रोटी कुत्ते ने उठाई, नामदेव ने पकाई रोटी कुत्ते ने उठाई, पीछे घी का कटोरा लेके वो भागे, बोले सूखी तो न खाओ प्रभु प्रभु घी तो लेके जाओ, बोले सूखी तो ना खाओ प्रभु घी तो लेके जाओ, क्यों रूप तू अपना छुपा रहे, दिखता जो देखता है वो नहीं, सच में प्रभु है तू ही, मुझे एहसास हो गया है भगवान ये. Namdev could see the G-O-D in the D-O-G.
Wow. I have to ask you this. Does all this come spontaneously to you? Because it's just flowing out of you.
all just comes. If I'm sitting, I start saying, मैं ये नहीं, ये मैं नहीं, सच में तो मैं हूँ वही, पर ये जो है ये ना चाहे, एहसास हो जाए मैं वही, एहसास हो जाए मैं वही. It just comes, it just comes.
AiR, let's come down to now. When you had your realization, if you remember the moment, I remember there's a story of you being in the airplane when you had some aha moment. I want to hear about that story. And how did life change after the realization? And when did you decide that I need to go and teach this or spread this message to other people? And one last one, what method do you use to teach them, to take them from where they are or where you want them to be or where they should be?
So Sukhdev, when I started my talash in 2012-2013, I had certain realizations. Each realization was like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle. When we make a jigsaw puzzle, for example, I realized I am not the body. I realized, where is the mind? There is no mind. You can't find, nobody has seen the mind. So then I put these pieces of jigsaw puzzle in a bag. I had so many pieces. On Sunday, the 31st of August 2014, Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, I took a flight and I sat in that plane without eating anything for 8-9 hours except coffee, tea, water. I put the pieces together, and it was on that divine day that all the pieces came together. I am not the body, I am not the mind, then who am I? But I am the Atma. Who is Atma? Atma is Paramatma. Who is God? God is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. God is not God, God is Sip, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satya. All these pieces came together and the picture emerged. When the picture emerges, it's like when you put two wires together and the light glows. There was light. And I could see that I am not me. I could see I am not the body or the mind and ego me. I realized I am Atman In Ravi. From that day, when I landed in Bangalore on the 1st September, I said I will not sign. I will not run the business. I will not sign. I will not participate in any work other than spirituality. Overnight, one day, next day I quit. Luckily, I had a partner who was with me for 30 years, and I gave over all the stuff to that partner to be my signatory, and I stopped even checking my bank account. I don't touch cash. I say other people touch cash. I try not to touch cash. This has been my journey. Then, after 2014, when I was so excited about the self-realization, God realization, it was inspired with my guru, Dada, and he said, he advised me, I could write books, I could talk, I could sing. He knew I had the skill of doing these things. So then, I made it my mission, my life mission, to help people realize the truth. I decided to do it non-commercially. So if somebody asks me anything, I say, if something about enlightenment is sold at a price, to me, to be enlightened is a big surprise. So if somebody, of course we have to put a price to every product, but anybody asks me for anything free of cost, I give it to them free of cost. It may be a book, it may be anything. All my books are on the internet, free to download, no cost. Because, Sukhdev, I became what is called Ladi. L-A-A-D-I, Ladi. Ladi means living as a divine instrument. I dedicated my life in complete surrender. I said, Prabhu, I have surrendered to you, because what am I? I am nothing. You are everything. You do everything. You know, in one of the poems I read there, लगता के सब करता मैं, सच में कुछ करता ना मैं, सच में प्रभु सब कुछ तू करता, कविता जो लिखता हूँ मैं, सच में ना लिखता मैं ये, सच में प्रभु कविता तू लिखता। दिल के अंदर दिल धड़कता, सच में प्रभु तू है जो नाचता, तेरी कृपा से दुनिया है चलता। तो everything is happening as a divine Leela, as this Maya. And when you realize it, then you know what it is. You have realized. So this whole thing, what is this? Today I am here as air. Tomorrow I will not be here. I will be gone. The show will go on, right? So that's the way I think about it.
Yeah, I know you're on Zoom every single day at 8 p.m. For anybody who wants to join and listen to you or ask questions. Your WhatsApp number is available to anybody and they can ask you anything. You have a spiritual center as well, I think.
Yeah,
and you run an old age home as well. Describe a typical day in AiR's life. You still are doing so much. It may not be commercial, but you inspire me to, because these are the kind of things that I look forward to doing later on when I can maybe run an old age home, run an orphanage, feed the hungry, give education to children. You inspire me. But tell me a typical day in AiR's life.
So, like you talked about this seva, we started the old age home 30 years back. 30, before I was awakened. But at that time, I used to pick people from the street and put them back on their feet as good karma. A lot of people think you must do good karma, because when you go up to God, the only currency that will work is your good karma. Little do they realize that if you do good karma, you will come back to be rewarded for the good karma. So now, we changed the whole logic. And our karma is called SHIP, S-H-I-P. Serving humanity is prayer. And what do I, every day, just now as we start this podcast, we have served breakfast to 600 people. We have 600 people in 2-3 large homes all over Bangalore. But what I teach my people, I tell my people, Shiv Jnani Jan Seva, विवेकानंद ने ये कहा, दुखियों की सेवा जो करता वही शिव को पाता, एहसास जिसको होता शिव सब में वो पूजा करता, जो सेवा करता दीन दुखियों की वही पूजा करता. What is puja, Sukhdev? Puja is being able to serve the Bhagavan in the insan. So typically I start my day, I wake up before the sun rises, I try to spend time in silence, which I call dhyana yoga. Then there's little bhakti, I call it bhakti yoga. Then I write a book every morning for an hour, which means I sit, I receive the book, it comes like a flash, and I spend an hour writing a book. Then I spend time getting ready, my breakfast. I go to the temple. We have a temple, but earlier I used to pray to Shiva. Now I pray through Shiva. Through Shiva to the Shiva that is Shivoham, that is Aham Brahmasmi. So that happens. Then I spend time on my bhajans, on my talks, on my podcasts, on the ashrams. So my whole day moves from Dhyana yoga to bhakti yoga to karma yoga to jnana yoga. And I discovered the fifth yoga which the world is not aware about. It's called prema yoga. And prema yoga is the yoga of divine manifestation. There is the yoga of meditation, the yoga of devotion, the yoga of action, the yoga of education. Dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga. I discovered prema yoga. And prema yoga is the yoga of divine manifestation. So in that, you see God in all. You love God in all. And you serve God in all. So then in the in the part of the day, my Zoom call every day at 8 o'clock, like you said, anybody can come in that call. So my day is just this. And all the time I have left over, I spend in retreat. I will go away to the mountains, or I go away to a beach. I don't go to cities. If I go to Switzerland, the moment I land in Zurich, the next 1 hour I'm up in the mountains. I go to the Maldives, or I go to Finland, or I go to Iceland. In Iceland, there's nobody, there's nothing. So I spend a lot of time in silence, in that nothingness, because it is in that Shanti se mila kya hasi anand, Sat ke chit mein mila Sat chidanand, Shanti se mila. So I try to tell people how peace is the foundation of happiness. And my day goes in the foundation of peace, helping people, serving the God in one and all. And before you know it, my day is over. And then the next day and the next day. For me, there is no Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, nothing. Every day has 1440 minutes. I consider each minute as a gift from God. And I believe we need maximum 300 or 360 minutes to sleep out of the 1440 minutes. The rest of the time is dedicated to SIP. And I tell SIP, you drive me, I will not do anything. You drive me and I am your humble servant. I will do what you ask me to do.
I understand that. Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, the time I asked you, does everything come to you spontaneously? I just realized that from this state, you never think about things. And sometimes you wonder, how did I even speak that? How did it just come through my mouth? And it's beautiful. And I understand how the day just goes and you let the flow happen.
Because remember this, when you realize, you don't memorize. When you realize, you don't memorize. When you realize, you don't analyze. When you realize that realization is an automatic renunciation from samsara, from bhoga, and you become a yogi who's living in yoga. And then you're living in that state of ananda.
Oh my God, I can listen to you for hours. I can listen to you for hours. That is so, wow. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, maybe one or two more last questions. People who come to you on the 8 o'clock call, I'm sure a lot of them, I think I've seen one or two videos where people who do come to ask you about self-realization and how to realize the self. What have you seen? What could be the major obstacle that most of the people face, and how do you guide? Maybe you could walk us through what somebody who's stuck somewhere, you can analyze it immediately, and how would you walk him or her to realization?
So Sukhdev, there are hundreds of people who come on the Zoom call. But we have kept a limit of 100 because we don't want it to be uncontrollable. So if once you're 100, if somebody comes later, they can't enter the call, though it's a free call. So people who come on this call are sincere seekers. And we have taught them the 8 stages of spiritual awakening. You start with Jigyasu, Mumukshu, Jnani, Yogi, Buddh, Sthit Pragya, Jivan Mukta, Satchidanand Atma. Then we are able to see through, when I talk to somebody, are they in a mind state? Are they in a state of greed? Are they in a state of seeking happiness through pleasure and achievement? So then you come to realize what somebody is seeking. Most of the time, when somebody is in a mind state, it's as simple as moving them from mind to consciousness. If somebody moves from mind to consciousness, in a state of consciousness where the mind is still, in that chitta, the buddhi, the vivek, the intellect shines, and they themselves realize the answer. So people who are regular, there are people who are coming on this call from 4 years. The call started more than 4 years back. And there are people who are following me from 10 years, from the day my journey started. So yes, I guide people. Important thing is they trust. Recently somebody asked me, why is it I am not achieving enlightenment? So I told them because of TOD. T-O-D-D, TOD. They said, what is TOD? I said, you must learn to trust, obey, don't disobey. I said, if you want to achieve, then you have to trust, obey, don't disobey. See, when you want to follow a master, you go to a doctor. You complain of cough and cold and throat pain and all that. The doctor gives you some medicines and tells you will be well in 3 days. After 3 days, you complain to the doctor, I'm not well. The doctor asks you, have you taken the medicine? You say, medicine is in my pocket. Medicine in the pocket doesn't work. So people who come to the call, I guide them. What is this path, Sukhdev? You know it. This path is asking the question, who am I? And to get to the question, who am I? The preliminary question is, who am I not? When we realize I am not body, I am not mind, I am not ego, but I am, then who is that I? When the I has a fall, then you see the divine in all. So therefore, people come with all kinds of problems. Somebody came and told me yesterday, Guruji, do you initiate people? I said, yes, come, I will tell you secret mantra in your ear. Then I make them understand. Don't be carried away by what people say. Then somebody comes and tells me, I'm following 10 gurus. I say, following 10 gurus is like going in 10 different directions. You can't reach anywhere. So people come with real problems. Somebody comes and says, somebody died. So then I tell them, मैं नहीं पैदा होता नहीं, मैं मरता नहीं, मैं तो वो आत्मा हूँ, नेति नेति ये नहीं, तत्वमसि मैं वो हूँ. I make them understand, don't make death a moment of desperation. Death is a moment of celebration. It is a moment of liberation. So we explain to people, why you cry when you see somebody die? It is natural for people to die. God has made this world in such a way, if there was no death, how will this world be? People would be alive for 5,000 years, 6,000 years. This world wouldn't be livable in this world. So then we talk to them on a one-to-one basis, help them. Where are they on the path? Where do they want to reach? Are they seeking happiness? Are they seeking God? Are they seeking realization? Then we help them to move on the path.
Oh, okay. So you've got a whole setup where they go step by step.
Yeah. Because it's a journey.
Yeah, that's good. I thought people were just randomly joining and maybe they would not have a set format or step.
No. There are some people who come random, but those who like the call, they don't leave the call. They're on the call every day.
I loved the Todd that you said, T-O-D-D, trust, obey, don't disobey. And it brought to mind Nisargadatta Maharaj. You've heard of him, I'm sure. I am that. Staunch non-dualist, did not believe in God at all and did not believe in belief as well and faith and all that when he was teaching. But something that struck me so strongly was, he said, how did he achieve his realization? He said, my guru told me I am Brahman and I should meditate on I am. And I did that, but more importantly than what I did was I believed my guru.
Yeah.
And
it's very important.
Most important. Had he not believed in it, then there would be doubt and realization cannot happen. So even him, later on, there's a story of him when somebody, he used to do his satsang, then he used to be very loud. And somebody asked him once, you always talk about non-duality and your Brahman and the self and all that, and then at home you go and you worship all the gods, because his guru had told him not to stop doing that, and so he kept doing that. And so somebody asked him, now tell me, if God came right now in front of you, what would you do? And Nisargadatta Maharaj says, I would tell him to get out. Because the God who will come will also go. He's not the true God.
There's so many interesting things, Sukhdev. When we hear about masters. Like, for example, we hear of Ramana Maharishi. An Australian came to him, insisted, Bhagwan, show me God. Bhagwan, you heard that story? Yeah, Bhagwan, show me God. So he told, no, I am not here to show you God. No, Bhagwan, I have come from Australia. Show me God. So he told him, come tomorrow morning 5 o'clock without fail, I'll show you God. So he came at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he was sitting at 5 o'clock in the morning, and Ramana Maharishi didn't speak anything. He asked him, Bhagwan, you are supposed to show me God. So what did Ramana Maharishi do? He said, and then he went away. In the evening, this Australian said, Swami, Bhagwan, you cheated me, no? You told me morning you'll show me God. And then you just came and you did like this, and you went away. Bhagwan said, he speaks less. Ramana Maharishi said, what? He said, you only showed me fingers. You are supposed to show me God. Ramana Maharishi told him, you only saw the fingers. You did not see the energy that's making the fingers move. That energy that's making the fingers move is God. That Shakti that's making the fingers move. You only saw the outside. You didn't see the inside. So the way the masters speak, they've got, but what I feel that you're a master in singing. And before we end the podcast, I think you should take up some of this great stuff that we have spoken about today and about non-duality. And of course, you told me you're singing mantras and you're singing, that is fine. But songs are a beautiful way of making people realize the truth. I met Kailash Kher. Kailash Kher was there and he was singing one song. He said, Ishq julun jab had se bad jaye, haste haste aashik suli chad jaye, jab ishq ka jadoo sar chad kal bole, khoob laga le raste raste rab khole. So I told him, ye theek hai. I told him, प्रीतम में जिसे रब मिले इश्क वो है, प्रीतम में जिसे रब मिले इश्क वो है, प्रीतम फिर प्रीतम नहीं है देवी है, रब से जो प्यार पल पल करता है, रब से जो प्यार पल पल करता है, प्रीतम में वो प्रेमी रब को पाता है, प्रेमी ना प्रेमी फिर देवी है, देवी मंदिर में ना देवी प्रेमी में है, प्रेमी में जो प्रभु पाता वो ही प्यार करता और कोई प्यार नहीं है, अनुभूति हो गई अनुभूति. So he was so excited, Kailash Kher, when he told me that he wants to do it. I don't know whether you would like to take it up, but I think if you want to take it up, we can work together, because you're a singer, you're the master in that field, and I get the words. And I was just looking at some of the words. I get, for example, what you say. I tell people, इंसान में ही भगवान है, भगवान नहीं आसमान में है, कण कण में शक्ति प्रभु की ही है, हर जीव में भगवान है. So there are songs, and people can relate to songs far better than just talking.
Yes, agreed, absolutely.
So if you want to, we can then, after this podcast, we can think of how to make magic by creating songs which are non-duality, or songs which are only to do with. I was just having some of these songs here. One song, a famous Hindi song, it says, ये बात कुछ अजीब है, इंसान ही भगवान है, इंसाना एक व्यक्ति है, वो आत्मा की शक्ति ही है. So I'm saying you can use magic of singing, and we can work together and help people on the, because if you don't understand your non-duality, Sukhdev, then you know it. You are the Sukhdev, the Dev of Sukh. Dev of Sukh means the God of happiness, and the God of happiness as Sukhdev means that you have to help people, what I call, discover the happiness secret. The happiness secret. And this is the way, is the non-duality way. That's the only way. One song says, Sacha Sukh Kya Hai, based on your name. Your name, Sukhdev. सच्चा सुख क्या है, शांति में है ये जीना, शांति सुख की बुनियाद है, चैन ना हो तो सुख कहाँ है, शांति में खुशी खिलती है. So I think we have a lot to do on songs.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Beautiful. I also have this in mind to do non-duality, and we will work together. We will do something on this. I love the way you spontaneously and it's very conversational language that you're using. It's not mystical language. It's like how we are talking.
Because it's flowing from the soul. It's not some text. We are not referring to any text and talking. We are talking from the soul.
Yeah. AiR, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I just want to ask you, is there anything that I have left out that you would want people on this channel who come and watch my videos on this podcast are all people who already know non-duality. So not people who would be against it or would not understand it. So is there anything that I have left out that you can think of that you would like to?
No, I want to say one thing, that many people who believe in non-duality or who are awakened to the truth of non-duality, they are demoralized by the majority who think of duality. So the non-dualists must understand that we are only the 1% who are blessed. So 99 people that we see around will not understand or comprehend what we are talking about. It's okay. You know, Sukhdev, I'll end with telling you this. 1% of this world is visually blind. 1% of this world is visually blind. They cannot see. 99% of this world is spiritually blind. They think we are the body, the mind and the ego, me. So don't worry. You be free, because non-duality is the way to give you mukti, to give you freedom, to give you ananda, to give you bliss, to give you that state of eternal happiness in truth consciousness. So non-duality is the way, it is the only way, it is the truth and nothing but the truth. And just because some people cannot realize the truth, they are like the 7 blind people who are touching an elephant. Some said the elephant is like a rope, somebody said the elephant is like a tusk, somebody said the elephant is like a tree, somebody said the elephant is like a snake. Doesn't matter. We know that there is the divine everywhere, in all. There is no place where the divine is not. The non-dualists understand it, they realize it. Let us enjoy the bliss of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, AiR. It's been a pleasure. I've been longing to talk to you, and truly you are like a mirror reflection of what I have in my mind. Literally.
I'm happy to meet you. I hope your work takes you long and your work of non-duality goes far. But like I said, we should work together in this singing aspect, and we should try to take this message to the world. Thank you, Sukhdev.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for patiently listening to the video. And if you have questions, if you want to contact me, just WhatsApp me on 98451 55555. WhatsApp India 919845155555. 55555. But if you want to get answers to your questions, then come on Zoom, and the Zoom ID is on your screen. Every day at 8, you will find answers to all the difficult questions of life. See you there.